From a small-scale tier of cigar-producing countries, whose premium presence is minimal to a Cuban tradition, whose reference point status the modern catalog has drifted away from at the top. 9 countries in the modern catalog produce cigars, or wrapper leaf, at a scale the premium conversation depends on, and the ranking splits cleanly into specialty countries, full production tiers, and the modern premium peaks. Most people assume Cuba automatically holds the top position. It does not always. The top 3 ranking is where the country conversation gets genuinely interesting, and the answer depends on the tier in the hand. This is every cigar-producing country ranked worst to best. A subscribe and a like keep this kind of breakdown going. No brand deals, no sponsored picks, just the analysis the industry does not pay for. Number 9, the small-scale tier. We are starting at the bottom of the ranking and immediately making a point. Panama and Costa Rica both produce cigars in commercial quantities, and both countries occupy a small-scale tier of the premium catalog that the broader cigar conversation walks past, because the production output is limited, and the markets at this tier do not carry the visual weight of the countries above. Panama-produced cigars occasionally reach American retail at prices between $8 and $14, and Costa Rica-produced cigars sit at a similar tier. Here is what the marketing will not tell you. The small-scale tier is honest at its production level. The tobacco is competent. The construction discipline reflects the smaller-scale operations, rather than the industrial premium standards that define the countries above. The tier sits at number 9 because the premium conversation does not consistently reach the shelf at this country origin. The experienced smoker walks past the small-scale tier because the countries above deliver the same price at deeper production tradition. Number 8, the United States. The American cigar tradition centers on Ybor City in Florida, where Cuban immigrants established the American cigar industry in the late 19th century. The American premium cigar tradition is genuine, and the country produces cigars at a small premium tier that the broader conversation walks past because the production output has never scaled to match the Dominican Republic, Nicaragua, or Honduras. American-produced cigars retail between $8 and $20 depending on the operation and vitola. The critical American contribution to the modern cigar catalog is not Florida-produced cigars. It is Connecticut wrapper leaf. Connecticut-grown shade tobacco is one of the most sought-after wrapper varieties in the modern catalog, and the leaf appears on cigars produced across the Dominican Republic, Nicaragua, and Honduras at premium tiers. The Connecticut shade wrapper defines the mild-tier premium conversation, the way Cameroon wrapper defines the mid-tier, and San Andres Maduro defines the full-body tier. Here is what the marketing will not tell you. The United States ranks at number 8 for full cigar production because the American premium output is limited, and the country's genuine contribution to the modern cigar catalog is the wrapper leaf that reaches the cigar through production in the countries above. The American premium producers, including operations in Miami and Ybor City, deliver honest cigars at their tier, but the tier does not scale to compete with the countries above at the premium peak. Number 7, Mexico. Mexico is the country whose contribution to the modern cigar catalog is almost entirely on the wrapper side. San Andres Maduro, wrapper leaf, grown in the San Andres Tuxtla region of Veracruz, is one of the most sought-after Maduro wrappers in the modern catalog, and the leaf appears on cigars produced across Nicaragua, the Dominican Republic, and Honduras at premium tiers. Mexican-produced cigars exist, and the country delivers competent full cigar output at small commercial tiers, but the country's ranking sites at number 7 because the full cigar production is dwarfed by the wrapper contribution. The San Andres Maduro wrapper defines the full-bodied Maduro tier of the modern catalog. The wrapper appears on cigars from Padron, My Father, Crowned Heads, and La Aroma de Cuba at premium tiers, and the leaf is one of the most recognizable wrapper varieties in the industry. Here is what the marketing will not tell you. Mexico sits at number 7 because the country delivers world-class wrapper leaf at a scale the full cigar production does not consistently match. The San Andres Maduro category is the Mexican contribution, and the contribution defines a specific tier of the modern catalog. The full cigar output is honest but limited. Number 6, Brazil. Brazil produces the Arapiraca and Mata Fina wrapper varieties, both of which appear on cigars at premium tiers across Nicaragua and Honduras. The Brazilian wrapper legacy is genuinely respected in the industry, and the country's contribution to the modern catalog is primarily on the wrapper side. Brazil produces full cigars at a small commercial tier, and Brazilian-produced cigars occasionally reach American retail at prices between $10 and $18, depending on marca. The Brazilian Arapiraca wrapper defines a specific Maduro conversation, the way Mexican San Andrés defines the broader Maduro tier. The Arapiraca leaf appears on cigars from CAO, Perdomo, and other operations at premium tiers, and the wrapper carries a distinctive dark cocoa profile that Mexican San Andrés does not consistently match. Here is what the marketing will not tell you. Brazil ranks at number 6 because the country delivers respected wrapper leaf and honest full cigar production at a smaller commercial tier than the countries above. The wrapper contribution defines the Brazilian legacy in the modern catalog. The full cigar output is real but limited. Number 5, Ecuador. Ecuador is the wrapper capital of the modern cigar catalog. The country produces virtually no cigars, and the country's contribution to the industry is almost entirely on the wrapper side. Ecuadorian-grown wrappers, particularly the Habano, Connecticut, and Sumatra varieties grown at high altitude under cloud cover, are among the most sought-after wrappers in the modern catalog. The wrappers appear on cigars produced across Nicaragua, the Dominican Republic, and Honduras at premium tiers. The Ecuadorian growing environment produces a leaf with concentrated flavor and natural sweetness that lower altitude wrappers do not consistently match. The Ecuadorian Habano wrapper defines the full-bodied premium tier for producers who do not source their own leaf, and the Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper defines the mild tier premium conversation alongside American Connecticut shade. Here is what the marketing will not tell you. Ecuador ranks at number 5 because the country produces almost no cigars, but supplies wrappers to nearly every premium producer in the modern catalog. The Ecuadorian contribution is structural. The wrappers define entire tiers of the industry. Cigars carrying Ecuadorian wrappers appear on premium shelves across every country above this ranking, and the industry depends on Ecuadorian wrapper leaf in ways the broader conversation walks past. Number 4, Honduras. Honduras is the first country in this ranking that produces cigars at scale at the full cigar premium tier. The Honduran tradition centers on operations in Danlí, and the country produces cigars for marcas, including Punch, Camacho, Alec Bradley, and Rocky Patel at premium tiers. Honduran-produced cigars retail between $6 and $20, depending on marca and vitola. The Honduran production tradition is genuine. The country has been producing cigars at commercial scale since the mid-20th century, and the Honduran full-bodied tier delivers a specific flavor profile that Nicaraguan and Dominican production do not consistently replicate. The Punch core line, the Camacho Corojo, and the Alec Bradley Prensado all sit at premium tiers with Honduran-produced construction discipline. Here is what the marketing will not tell you. Honduras ranks at number 4 because the country delivers full cigar production at premium tiers with a genuine tradition behind it. And the country's ranking sites below Nicaragua and the Dominican Republic because the production scale is smaller and the marcas at the Honduran tier do not consistently occupy the peak of the modern catalog. The tier is honest. The tier is not the peak. Number 3, Dominican Republic. The Dominican Republic is one of the 2 modern premium peaks in the cigar catalog. The country produces cigars at a scale the countries below cannot match, and the production discipline at Dominican facilities defines the construction consistency conversation in the modern industry. The Tabacalera A. Fuente factory, the Altadis USA facility, the Davidoff production operation, and the La Aurora factory all sit in the Dominican Republic, and the country produces cigars for Arturo Fuente, Ashton, Davidoff, Romeo, y Julieta American Production, Montecristo American Production, H. Upman American Production, and La Aurora at premium tiers. Dominican production discipline is the industry's construction benchmark. The country's premium output retails between $8 and $40, depending on marca and vitola, and the Cameroon-wrapped Dominican tradition, centered on the Fuente family, defines a specific tier of the modern catalog that no other country produces at comparable consistency. Here is what the marketing will not tell you. The Dominican Republic ranks at number 3 because the country delivers construction consistency at scale that the countries below cannot match, and the ranking cites below Nicaragua and Cuba because the Dominican tradition does not consistently peak at the flavor complexity the top 2 countries reach. The Dominican tier is genuinely great. The tier is not the flavor peak. Nicaragua and Cuba both push flavor complexity in ways Dominican production does not consistently match. The Dominican Republic is the construction peak. The countries above are the flavor peaks. Number 2, Nicaragua. Nicaragua is the modern flavor peak of the cigar catalog. The country produces cigars at a scale that has expanded aggressively over the past 3 decades, and the modern Nicaraguan tradition has established itself as the primary competitor to the Cuban reference point at the top of the ranking. The My Father Cigars Factory, the Padron facility, the Oliva Farms, the Joya de Nicaragua operation, and the A.J. Fernandez Farms all sit in Nicaragua, and the country produces cigars for Padron, Oliva, My Father, Joya de Nicaragua, A.J. Fernandez, La Aroma de Cuba, Crowned Heads, Tatuaje, and Ilusione at premium tiers. The Nicaraguan flavor profile is the modern industry's full-bodied benchmark. The country's premium output retails between $8 and $40, depending on marca and vitola, and the vertically integrated Nicaraguan operations, particularly Padron and Oliva, deliver construction discipline that matches the Dominican tradition at flavor complexity that pushes above it. Here is what the marketing will not tell you. Nicaragua ranks at number 2 because the country delivers the modern flavor peak of the cigar catalog at production discipline that scales. The vertically integrated Nicaraguan operations control their farms from the growing region through the fermentation cycle, and the price at every Nicaraguan tier reflects the vertical integration rather than the marketing budget. The country's ranking seats below Cuba at the reference point level, and the gap between the 2 countries is narrowed enough that experienced smokers routinely reach for Nicaraguan releases when the Cuban catalog fails the value calculation. Number 1, Cuba. Cuba is the reference point of the modern cigar catalog. The country established the global cigar tradition, and every ranking above Cuba in this list traces its production discipline, its blending philosophy, and its rolling techniques back to the Cuban original. The Cuban tradition centers on the Vuelta Abajo growing region in Pinar del Rio, and the country produces cigars for Cohiba, Montecristo, Partagas, Romeo, y Julieta, H. Upmann, Bolivar, Joyo de Monterrey, Ramon Allones, Trinidad, and dozens of other marcas at every tier of the premium catalog. Cuban production retails between $5 and $150 depending on marca, vitola, and release. The country's premium tier at level 6 of the Cuban catalog delivers the honest meeting point of Cuban blend, construction discipline, and price. The Cuban tier at level 7 has drifted upward faster than the leaf has earned, and the mystique architecture at the top of the Cuban catalog has become a structural conversation the modern industry acknowledges. Here is what the marketing will not tell you. Cuba ranks at number 1 because the country remains the reference point that the modern industry measures itself against, and the ranking is defended by the Cuban tradition at level 4 through level 6, rather than by the mystique tier at level 7. The Cuban peak at level 6 is the honest expression of the Cuban premium. The Cuban drift at level 7 is the conversation the industry depends on the smoker not asking about. Cuba holds the top position because the country's honest premium tier still defines the global standard, and Nicaragua, at number 2, is the closest modern competitor. The 9 countries in this ranking have one thing in common. Every country delivers a specific structural contribution to the modern cigar catalog. The wrapper-first countries define specific tiers through their leaf. The full production countries deliver cigars at premium tiers with construction discipline that reflects their tradition. The top 3 countries deliver the modern premium peaks, and the ranking between them depends on the tier in the hand. Now you know how the country conversation actually works. Subscribe if you want more breakdowns like this one. We will see you in the next.